Shreveport City Councilwoman Stephanie Lynch is here for a couple of minutes. Hey, Miss Stephanie, welcome back to KEEL. How are you this morning?
Good morning.
Okay, so we had the audio, I guess, yesterday from, was it the work session or the actual meeting on Tuesday? From the work session.
No, the meeting.
A little back and forth, a little heated back and forth, dare I say, with you and City CAO Brian Crawford about the 2019 city services budget and how your constituents are being served. Do you feel that conversation with CAO Crawford accomplished anything? What were you trying to get done?
Well, we were presented with an overview of the budget, which we did not receive in advance, which we didn't have a copy of, so we just had to kind of sit there and listen. And it basically went over the mayor's administration's priorities for next year. And part of that was the public works budget, which basically showed no change, despite not just me, but half of this city, roughly half of this city, has not been receiving basic city services in an efficient and effective way.
Excuse me just a second. You had said the city's priorities were made known in this budget. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would it be fair to say that you think the city's priorities have been and continue to be a little out of whack? Is that fair?
In terms of the delivery of basic city services, definitely.
You sent me a text that says they're not overwhelmed. They just do not care and do not want to be bothered with poor and working class communities whom they feel are beneath them and are underserving many of those
undeserving
of the same level of basic city services as they deliver in Southeast Shreveport, period. You feel adamant about that.
Correct.
Do they?
I mean, put your money where your mouth is. If you say that you want to represent all of Shreveport, all of the communities in Shreveport, all of the tax-paying citizens in Shreveport, put your money where your mouth is. What I did not see in that budget overview was them putting the money where their mouth is.
Are they accurate when they say your district got more money than any other with regard to public works projects?
That is because the constant decrease sewer work began in District F because we have the worst, sewer drainage system in the entire city. And so that number includes the $200 million that has been spent related strictly to consent work.
But you and I rode around in your district. I spent some time with you, and I saw ditches in District F and piles of trash on the street that I'm going to be honest with you, and the folks that are listening, if that was happening in Broadmoor or South Highlands, people would be PO'd.
Well, the great thing about it is that people in South Highlands don't have to be PO'd because the city is delivering those services efficiently and effectively there. But the Alice report clearly says that half of this city is poor and working class. But that does not mean that they do not deserve the same level of basic city services that is received in Southeast Shreveport or South Highlands or, other communities that do not fall in that 50% of people identified in the Alice report by the Community Foundation. But what we're finding is that they are not receiving those services at the same level.
Let's cut to the chase. We have an African-American mayor. She grew up, she would tell you, she was working class. She grew up in a home, in a poor neighborhood. And you're telling me today she doesn't care about poor working neighborhoods? How could that possibly be?
The proof is in the pudding.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, the proof is in the pudding. You rode around, you saw And, I mean, the mayor can only do so much. Her chief administrative officer, who, makes twice what the mayor makes, a couple of $100,000 a year, has the responsibility of making sure that the department heads are doing their job.
Ms. Stephanie,
and that is, this is an accountability issue as well.
Ms. Stephanie, you said a couple of times, and I think in a text to Erin yesterday, that you sort of wanted to stay out of the mayor's race. Isn't this criticism of the mayor, and more specifically the CAO? If you're not endorsing a candidate, you're certainly not endorsing one, huh?
Well, what I've said to my constituents is I'm going to work with whomever the majority of the citizens of Shreveport decide they want to be mayor. If it's Mayor Tyler, I'm going to continue to work with Mayor Tyler. If it's someone else, I will work with that person. But I'm not trying at this point to influence the voting decision. They recognize what they're seeing, and I think the citizens are capable of making that decision.
So when your constituents come up to you on the street, as they do, and say, "Hey, Miss Stephanie, what do you think about this mayor's thing?" you kind of go, "You can figure this out for yourself."
I tell them exactly what I just said. I said that I have one vote personally, and that I am going to work with whomever the majority of the citizens decide they want to be mayor of the city of Shreveport.
Stephanie, and I call you Stephanie, I hope you don't mind.
No, I don't.
Do you think, perhaps when we discussed this earlier, I don't know if you heard it or not, because you're adamant about, you send in emails and pictures and videos in your district all the time, do you think maybe you become spam to them? That they're like, oh, here's a whole list of more stuff from Stephanie. Oh, God. That maybe if you handled it a little differently, things would get done better, or no?
No, I think a picture is worth 1,000 words. I mean, this is nothing that police officers, sanitation workers, property standards workers, administrative staff, if they ride around this city, come off the second floor and ride in working class and poor communities, they will see what the citizens are seeing every day, what they have to live in, the environment that they're living in, with, the ditches, the right-of-ways not being cut, litter all over. Now, that's something that certainly everyone agrees on, that the city is trashy, not classy. But you multiply that with other services that are not being done, and you wonder why there are no jobs, why people are leaving, why the crime rate is high. All of that factors into, those dynamics.